Hey guys, Shifty here with something a bit different. This is my Pokemon Black with only one Ferroseed challenge. I wanted to try doing challenges on the channel, and this will be my first. Let me know if you guys want to see more challenge videos in the future, and what challenges you want to see. I chose to use Ferroseed in my first Pokemon challenge because Ferrothorn is one of my favorite Gen 5 Pokemon, and because Ferroseed is a very weak Pokemon, with only base 50 attack and base 10 speed. Its defenses, on the other hand, are monstrous, with 91 defense and 86 special defense. We don't learn any great moves by level up, and we learn no attacking grass-type moves, but our TM move pool is a bit better. The rules for this run are simple. I can only use Ferroseed in battle, but I will be using other Pokemon for HMs, and I cannot use items in battle except held items. With all that being said, if you enjoy the video, don't forget to like and subscribe. It really helps the channel and lets me know you guys want to see more of this kind of content. After choosing my character and naming myself, I get my starter Pokemon Ferroseed, which I replace Snivy with so that Sharon, the rival we fight the most, has a Tepig, a Pokemon who is 4 times super effective against us. After beating Sharon and Bianca, I check out our Ferroseed and see that it has a relaxed nature, which means more defense and less speed. This is fine, as I'll take all the defense we can get, and we most likely weren't going to outspeed much anyway. I named my Ferroseed C-Dot because I think that's really funny. After strolling through Route 1, we meet up with Sharon and listen to Gets' speech and battle in afterwards. His only Pokemon is a Purloin, and after trading scratches and tackles, we eventually win and grow to level 7 and learn Rollout in the process, which should be very helpful as it gets stronger every turn, which would negate our pitiful attack stat, and it's super effective against our biggest weakness, fire types. Speaking of fire types, the first gym is going to have one because they have the elemental monkey that is super effective against your starter, so I may have to grind a bit. After battling a few trainers on the next route and growing to level 8, we get jumped by Bianca wanting a battle. She sends out a Lillipup, but it ends up not being a challenge for C-Dot, but it does show the rollout strategy works. I built up 2 rollouts by the time I KO'd Lillipup, and the 3rd rollout had powered up enough to one-hit KO her Oshawott. I think this is how we're gonna win most of our battles. Once I healed C-Dot, I decided to run into the trainer school and battle Sharon, but his Tepig learned Ember, which did over half my health, so yeah, we had no shot to win. So I went and battled a trainer I skipped in the route previous, and the trainers to the right in the Dream Yard. Now we're level 11, so maybe Ember won't do so much. Now Ember is only doing 12 damage, and our rollout always KOs after 2 hits. I think we just win now. Except Sharon's Purloin has Assist, which lets it use a move a teammate has, and it pulled Ember and KO'd us. Yeah, that's really unfortunate, but it was just RNG, so next time we definitely got this. Well, if by next time I meant 3 attempts later, then yeah, I got this next time. For some reason, Sharon decided to use Tail Whip instead of the 4 times super effective Ember, and so he let us get away with more HP than usual. Purloin comes out next and uses Assist and thankfully gets Tackle instead of Ember, and my rollout KOs it after the Iron Barb's damage. Now that Sharon's beaten, I can finally enter the gym, and once I'm done battling all the gym trainers, growing to level 12, it's time to battle Chili. He starts with a Lillipup that goes for workup, which raises his attack and special attack, as I set up a curse which boosts our attack and defense but lowers our speed. I try to set up another curse to double our attack, but we get flinched by Bite and lose our turn. I started using Rollout and we connect on 2 of them. Chili heals Lillipup, but the 3rd Rollout is too strong and KOs Lillipup. Next is his Pansear, which has the super effective Incinerate, but he doesn't go for it, instead opting to work up, and our super effective Rollout is enough to take out Pansear, winning us our first gym badge. Honestly, I don't know if we only won because Pansear didn't attack, or if we would have lived the Incinerate anyway. After beating the gym and stopping Team Plasma in the Dream Yard, we make our way to Route 2, where Sharon stops us and challenges to another battle. He starts with Tepig and goes for Tail Whip of all things, as I begin rolling out. Next turn he hits us with an Ember, doing just under half our health, and the 2nd rollout brings Tepig to the yellow, but he heals with an Oranberry. Another Ember hits us and brings us down to just 8 HP, and our 3rd rollout is more than Tepig can handle. Next out is Purloin, and he uses Assist, and thankfully it doesn't get Ember, and our 4th rollout is far too strong for the Purloin and it goes down. After this, I realized that I've had the Oranberry Sharon gave us in the trainer school just sitting in my bag, so I quip win and continue on. Once we make it to Necrene City, I immediately go battle the gym, but we get stopped by In. He challenges us to a battle and leads with Pidove that leers us as we set up with Curse. Then it hits a Weak Gust as we hit with a super effective rollout. Next turn we get hit with a Crit Gust that does a chunk of our HP, but our 2nd rollout is more than enough. Next, In sends out a Timber, which goes for a super effective Low Kick that puts us in the yellow. Our 3rd rollout, along with the Iron Barb's damage, only puts Timber into the yellow. Another Low Kick leaves us with just 4 HP, but the 4th rollout and the Iron Barb's damage KOs Timber, leaving In's last Pokemon, Timpole. At this point, I was sure we were going to lose, but C-Dot hangs on from a Bubble Beam with just 1 HP remaining, and the 5th and final rollout is a one-hit KO. God, that was close. Once we made our way through the gym, we are up against Lenora. She leads with a Herdier, which has Intimidate, so we start with our attack dropped. She goes for a takedown as we set up a curse, and we do it again the next turn. We get hit with another takedown as we begin begin our rollout. The takedown recoil damage plus the iron barbs damage plus our second rollout takes out the Herdier. Next is Watchog, which has Retaliate, which is base 70 power, but doubles if an ally Pokemon fainted last turn. And how much does this 140 base power move do to C-Dot? 7 HP. That's why I love Ferroseed and Ferrothorn. They're just such a tank. 2 more rollouts are enough to take down the gym and get us our second badge. Once we finish dealing with Team Plasma in the Pinwheel Forest, it's onward to Castelia City. And once I'm there, I make a beeline and go to get the Eviolite, which multiplies the defense and special defense of unevolved Pokemon by 1.5. Whatever moves we weren't living, we definitely are now. After equipping the Eviolite and dealing with Team Plasma again, it's time to take on Berg. But with Rollout, I don't think he'll put up much of a fight. And I was right, after setting up 2 curses on Whirlipede, we start rolling out and KO after 2 rollouts, then Dwebble and Leavanny are both one-shots. Honestly, I didn't expect much, but Berg didn't even deliver that. And just like that, we have our 3rd gym badge. On our way to Route 4, we get stopped by Bianca for another battle, and it goes the same as Berg did. 2 curses and rollout sweeps. Even her Pansear with Incinerate could barely do anything. I am happy to say that the challenge hasn't completely left this run yet, as Sharon's now Pignite actually does a lot of damage, even through the Eviolite boost and +1 defense from Curse. I tried this multiple times and still couldn't win, so I guess this is the first grind. Let's come back at level 27 and see if anything's different. Alright, I'm level 27, let's see how things go now. Sharon leads with Pidove that leers as we set up with Curse. It leers again as we start rolling out. We get hit with a weak air cutter and our second rollout is more than enough to KO. Out comes the monster that is Pignite, and for some goddamn reason, it goes for a defense curl instead of the flame charge. Our 3rd rollout is enough to bring Pignite to the yellow, but it heals with a berry back to the green. Finally, it goes for flame charge and does a massive 40 damage, but our 4th rollout takes it down, but we are in trouble. Next out is Pansage, which crits Bite to bring us to just 11 HP, and our 5th and final rollout is enough to KO. Next is Liepard, but instead of attacking, it goes for Torment, as we go for Metal Claw, which does amazing damage bringing Liepard to the yellow. We are so close to winning, but Torment means we have to go for rollout. Liepard decides to attack with Pursuit, but it only does 4 damage, leaving us the winner of the battle with just 7 HP remaining. I think the only reason we won is because Pignite went for Defense Curl instead of attacking. Without that, we would have been dead, but I'll take my wins where I can get them. Once we make it to Nimbasa, we head straight to the gym. We've been on a roll with gym leaders so far, let's see if we're still rolling. But we get stopped by In, and after riding the Ferris wheel, we have to battle him. He leads with a Sandile that's pretty easy but annoying because it uses Sand Tomb, which does chip damage to us at the end of each turn. But the real beast of In's team is his Darumaka, which has Fire Punch, a 4x super effective move, and the ability Hustle, which increases the user's attack stat by 50%, but lowers the accuracy of the user's physical moves by 20%, so we either have to grind until we can reliably live a Fire Punch, or hope for the 20% drop in accuracy screws him over. I tried a couple more times and never made it past Darumaka, so I grinded to level 30, let's see how it went. Well, in short, it didn't change a damn thing, we still lost. Maybe level 32 will be better? Maybe level 32 wasn't needed? After giving it a little thought, I decided 3 curses would be better, as would buff our defense enough to help live a Fire Punch, and our rollout would KO Sandile after 2 hits, and I was right, it worked like a charm. After Sandile, we easily lived Darumaka's Fire Punch and 1-shot, and we lived Scraggy's Brick Break and 1-shot, and we lived Sigalip's Air Cutter and 1-shot. I think this is just a sign of things to come. Every trainer that has a fire type is going to be a wall. With In finally defeated, it's time for the gym. Elisa leads with an Emolga that goes for Aerial Ace as we set up a curse, and after that I just click rollout and sweep. Even her Zebstrika with Flame Charge only did 20 damage. Well, that was pretty easy compared to the In fight. I didn't even have full HP going into the battle. On our way to Route 5, Sharon stops by and battles us, but after setting up 2 curses and rolling out, his team couldn't stop us, not even his Pignite with Flame Charge. Unfortunately, I think this is going to be the last easy Sharon battle. After thwarting Team Plasma in the cold storage, it's time to challenge Gym Leader Clay, and I also taught Ferroseed Rock Smash for Clay's Excadrill, so hopefully that'll help. We get off to a bad start against Clay's Crocodile, getting swaggered and hitting ourselves for 2 turns before taking it out. Next is Palpitoad, which goes down to 4 rollouts and barely touches us. Last is his ace, Excadrill, which sets up a Home Claws, boosting its attack and accuracy as we hit with a rollout for amazing damage. Clay heals with a Hyper Potion as we use Rock Smash, taking Excadrill back down to about half. I try to use Rock Smash again, but the Torment from the Crocodile won't let me use it, so I go for Metal Claw. Excadrill hits us with a Rock Slide for weak damage, but it flinches us and we lose our turn. I go for Metal Claw again, and Excadrill goes for Slash, which crits, leaving us on only 13 HP, but the Iron Barb's damage plus Metal Claw is enough to take down Excadrill and win us our 5th gym badge on the first try. After defeating Clay, Bianca wants to battle, but again, she's not really an issue. 2 curses and 5 rollouts later, we won. And I think the next 2 gyms shouldn't be too much of a challenge either, seeing as how they're both weak to our rollout strategy. Once we make our way through Chargestone Cave, we have a battle with In at the very end. He leads with a Boldore that doesn't pose a serious threat, so we eventually take it out with 2 rollouts. Next is Joltik, which is weak to rollout, and so is a 1-shot. Next is his own Ferroseed, and it hangs on from our 4th rollout, but doesn't attack us, so we can easily KO with the last rollout. Next out is Clink, which also doesn't pose a threat, and we take it out with a Rock Smash. Now it's time for Gym Leader Skyla. She leads with a Swoobat that uses acrobatics and does more damage than I thought it would in all honesty. We set up a curse and begin rolling out as we take another acrobatics. After another round of acrobatics, our second rollout KOs Swoobat. Next is Unpheasant, and we take a critical air slash and thankfully don't get flinched, and one hit KO with our third rollout. Last out is Swanna, which goes for an Aqua Ring, but it doesn't do any good as our fourth rollout is more than enough to KO. Now it's time for the real challenge, Sharon. He has consistently been a wall to overcome, and this most likely won't be any different. Well, I was kinda right, his Pignite wasn't all that bad, but the Unpheasant he leads with is very annoying because it has Taunt to stop our curses, and when we do get any curses, it can stop rollout with either a 30% chance to flinch on Air Slash or with Detect. I'm going to come back at level 44 and see if that makes it a bit easier. I'm not so sure level 44 mattered in this win as much as just having good luck against Unpheasant. We don't get flinched by Air Slash as we set up curse, and then Unpheasant goes for Detect as we get another curse. We again don't get flinched as we begin our rollout and KO the next turn. Next is Pignite, which I wasn't super worried about because we have doubled our defense because of curse, and I was right not to be worried as Heat Crash only did 28 HP and we KO with our third rollout. Next is Liepard, which puts a stop to our rollout Rampage with a fake out, but one Rock Smash is enough, and lastly is Simisage, which hits with a weak Seed Bomb and we KO with an Iron Head. After making it through Twist Mountain, it's time for the 7th gym. I'm expecting this to be an easy one and done because it's a nice gym. Oh boy was I wrong though, it took me about 4 attempts, not because we're weak or anything like that, but because of bad luck with hitting ourselves in confusion. But on this attempt I traded blows with Vanillish for far too long, but eventually took it out with a little issue. And the Beartic that always uses Swagger on the first turn missed Swagger, so we easily KO'd with an Iron Head. And lastly was Cryogonal, but it too was a one-hit KO with Iron Head. Very easy gym if it weren't for my terrible luck. Now it's time for us to take on Team Plasma and the Dragon Spiral Tower. Now I'm not gonna lie, most of the battles are very easy and not worth a showing, but in one room we were stopped by 4 Team Plasma members who we have to fight back to back. The first guy uses a Watchog that uses Super Fang, which immediately halves our HP, and we just get whittled down and faint by the second Plasma Grunt. But I have a strategy. We have the Rocky Helmet, which will damage the Watchog when it hits us, so maybe that'll be enough damage to one-hit KO it, so we can save some HP. Alright, so we didn't even have to do that, we just had to use a better move. I guess I thought a super effective Rock Smash would be better than Iron Head, but Iron Head is actually twice as powerful, so yeah, we did fine using Iron Head. I think I confused Iron Head's base power with Metal Claw's base power. After dealing with Team Plasma in the Relic Castle, we fly back to Icarus City where Bianca battles us for the last time. She leads with Stoutland that has Intimidate, so we already have our attack drop. She sets up a workup as we set up a curse. Then she goes for a weak Retaliate as we set up curse again. She retaliates again as we attack with Rock Smash, taking Stoutland down to the yellow. Another Retaliate and the damage from Iron Barbs plus rollout is enough to take out Stoutland. Next is Simisear, which for some reason goes for Leer instead of Flame Burst, but it works out because we miss our rollout, and the next turn it goes for Leer again as we crit a rollout for a KO. Next is her starter Samurott. It goes for Aqua Jet as we continue rollout, which takes it down to about half health. Next turn, rollout KOs before Samurott can hit us with Revenge, which always goes last. Basharna is out last and it's a one-shot. Pretty easy fight overall, but that's been most of Bianca's fights. I got to Opelucid City and immediately went to the gym, and none of the battles were worth showing, so it's gym leader time. Drayden starts with a Fracture that sets up a Dragon Dance as we set up a curse. Next turn, he sets up another one as we begin rolling out. At this point, I'm worried I'm gonna have to reset, but he ended up only going for Dragon Dances, and we got away without taking any damage whatsoever. Next out is Druddigan, and it goes for Revenge, which has negative priority, so it always goes last, and we can KO with rollout, and only take damage from its Rough Skin ability. Last is Haxorus, and we again take it out before it hits us because Dragon Tail always goes last. And just like that, we get our 8th and final gym badge on the first try with only losing 16 HP. But there's no time to rest now as we have what is easily our hardest battles ahead of us. First is Sharon with his Embor that has Flamethrower and Heat Crash. Then there's the Elite Four, and every single member has at least one super effective move for us. Then In has the legendary Pokemon Zekrom and a Zoroark with Flamethrower and Focus Blast, and due to its ability Illusion, it comes out disguised as the last Pokemon in In's party, so I have to guess if it's actually Zoroark or not. And lastly, Guesses has Flamethrower on Electros, and he has a Hydreigon with Fire Blast and Focus Blast. This isn't going to be easy. But before we get too ahead of ourselves, we have to beat Sharon, and we can't do that at our current level. We just get cooked by Flamethrower even when our HP is in the green. I'm going to try again at level 60, maybe that'll be enough. It was enough for us to live with Flamethrower just barely, but our third roll still couldn't KO. I'm going to try to get another curse in on Unpheasant, but it's so difficult between taunt stopping setup moves and us getting flinched by Air Slash. Half a dozen attempts later and not much has changed. We still barely live Flamethrower, so onwards to level 65 it is. And level 65 still isn't enough. We can barely get to Embor with enough HP to live Flamethrower, and even then we usually don't have 2 curses set up, which makes KOing much easier. So level 70 it is. With the increased special defense defense, we can live Air Slash and Flamethrower a bit better. Well, we get to Embor more consistently, but we still lose every time we make it there. After a while, I went into the Pokemon Showdown damage calculator, and I saw that we have a chance to KO Embor at this level with Rollout and Curse, but I really don't want to spend any more hours of my night trying, so onward to level 75, where it is guaranteed we win against Embor. If getting past a level 45 Embor with Flamethrower is this hard and requires us to be at level 70 minimum, I am not looking forward to the Getsus fight where his Hydreigon has Fire Blast. Finally, we beat Sharon. His Unfezant goes for Air Slash as we set up a Curse. Next turn, we try to begin our rollout, but we get stopped by Detect. Then Unfezant goes for Taunt, but it doesn't matter, we only need the one Curse, and our rollout brings it to the yellow. Another Air Slash comes our way, but we don't get flinched and we connect our second rollout. Next is the monster that is Embor. Flamethrower takes us all the way from 150 HP all the way down to 54, but our third rollout takes out from full HP all the way down to 0, and the crit wasn't even needed, it was just a flex. Next is Liepard, whose Night Slash only does 4 HP, and our fourth rollout is more than enough. And lastly is Simusage, which hits a Seed Bomb for another 4 HP, and our fifth and final rollout is too much for Simusage, winning us the battle. I technically didn't need to be level 75, but I was gonna have to be at this level at some point, so why not sooner rather than later. While getting through Victory Road, we got to level 80. These are our stats going into the Elite Four. Honestly, I can't be mad about anything. As expected, we have great defenses and our attack isn't horrible, so let's go inside. My plan for this is to go from left to right so that way Marshall, the hardest Elite Four member, is last. Well, Chantal went about as I expected, with Chandelure doing massive damage and us not making it past her Golurk. But I did what I do best, and I opened Pokemon Showdown's damage calculator, and I found out that with a little RNG and the move Payback instead of Rock Smash, we can easily defeat her. On my second try against Chantal, Kofgrigus never touches us because we outsped and flinched with Iron Head, which is half of the RNG I mentioned earlier, and a second one is enough to KO. Next out is Chandelure, which misses Fire Blast, which was the other half of the needed RNG, and we one-hit KO with Payback, but we get burnt from its Flame Body ability, which isn't good as now our attack stat is halved, meaning Golurk and Jellicent are both now 2-hit KOs plus the added burn damage. Golurk hits us with a Brick Break and we bring it to the yellow with Payback. Another Brick Break hits us, but we live it and KO with Payback, but we are barely hanging on. Jellicent hits us with a Resisted Surf for only 11 HP instead of the much better Shadow Ball, and our Payback does massive damage. But after burn damage, we are on only 29 HP. Another Surf hits us for 12 HP and Payback KOs. I really don't think it could have been any closer than that. The next member is Grimsley, the Dark-type Elite Four member, and this is where I teach Rock Smash to Ferroseed again via TM. He leads with Scrafty, which immediately goes for a Sand Attack, so our accuracy is down for the whole battle. I go for Rock Smash, and it does a little under half. Then we get hit with a Brick Break, but shrug it off, and we go for an Iron Head, which is enough to KO. Next is Crocodile, which has Intimidate, so now our attack is lowered for the rest of the battle as well. We get hit with a weak Earthquake and hit back with Rock Smash for a chunk of damage and a defense drop. I go for Iron Head, but miss, then it happens again the next turn. We eventually KO Crocodile, but we are on 53 HP, and Grimsley still has 2 more Pokemon. Next out is Bisharp that goes for X Scissor that does a third of our remaining HP, but our Rock Smash is 4 times super effective and brings Bisharp down to the yellow, and we get a defense drop, but this triggers Bisharp's Defiant ability, which doubles its attack stat. Grimsley heals, but our Rock Smash takes Bisharp to the red, and we get another defense drop, so the next Rock Smash will KO. All we have to do is land it. Grimsley heals again, and we land the Rock Smash to KO Bisharp. Lastly is Liepard, which should be easy, but our attack and accuracy are down, not to mention our HP being at 36. Liepard goes for Fake Out that flinches us, but it does more damage to Liepard than it does us. We get hit with an Aerial Ace that takes us down to just 16 HP. All we have to do to win is just land an Iron Head, and we do, beating Grimsley with just 16 HP remaining. I know I said that Chantal's battle was close, but this was on a different level. The next Elite Four member is Caitlin, the Psychic-type member, and this is where I teach Ferroseed Payback again via TM for a very obvious reason. She leads with Reuniclus, which we actually outspeed and flinch with Iron Head, taking it to the yellow, but Caitlin doesn't heal, and we outspeed and KO with another Iron Head. Next is Sigilif, which goes for an Air Slash, but we don't flinch and our Payback is enough to one-hit KO it. Next is Gothitelle, which goes for a Calm Mind, as our Payback brings it to the red. Caitlin heals as we Payback again, bringing it to the red again. This happens one more time, but we crit our Payback and KO Gothitelle on the following turn. Last is Musharna, and we outspeed and hit it with an Iron Head for massive damage, but we get hit with a weak Psychic in return. Next turn, we outspeed and KO. Wow, this battle was the exact opposite of Grimsley's battle. The next Elite Four member is Marshall, the Fighting-type Elite Four member. This will easily be our hardest battle yet. He leads with Throw that hits us with a Storm Throw, which always crits, and our Iron Head brings it to the yellow, and on the next turn, we eat another Storm Throw and KO with Iron Head. Next is Conkeldurr, which hits us with a Hammer Arm that takes us from 110 HP HP all the way down to just 44 HP, but we respond with an Iron Head for good damage, and because Hammer Arm lowers the user's speed, we can outspeed the next turn and KO. Next is Mienshao, which immediately goes for a jump kick, but it missed, which halves the user's HP, and we can easily KO with Iron Head. Lastly is Sokka, and it goes for a Karate Chop, and we live it with just 18 HP, and because of our Iron Barb's ability, Sokka can't activate its Sturdy ability, and we KO with one Iron Head. In all honesty, this battle wasn't that hard. It took a couple handfuls of attempts and a little RNG on jump kick, but that was about it. After defeating all the Elite Four members, In takes over the Pokemon League, and after making our way through his castle, we get to watch one of the best cutscenes ever made. Then we battle Reshiram, but I just used the Master Ball for it, and then In and I battle. He leads with the legendary Pokemon Zekrom. As I lead with Reshiram, for some reason, it's forced to the front of my party, so I just switch in my HM Slave Lillipup, and somehow it gets knocked out by Fusion Bolt, so I guess I have to use Ferroseed now. In sets a light screen up as we set up a curse. Then he just pelts me with weak Fusion Bolts for the next 5 turns until I decide to KO Reshiram with Payback. Next is Zoroark disguised as Kling Klang, and we get cooked by a Flamethrower but manage to one-hit KO with Iron Head. Next is Vanillix, which comes in and sets up a Hailstorm. I'm not really a fan of the chip damage I'm gonna have to take for the rest of this battle, but thankfully it goes down to 1 Iron Head. After Vanillix is the real Kling Klang, which hits with a weak Flash Cannon and goes down to 1 Iron Head. Second to last is Archeops, which goes for an Acrobatics, but we live it barely, and we KO with an Iron Head. But after the hail damage, we only have 14 HP against In's last Pokemon, Caracosta. Caracosta misses a Stone Edge, and we bring it to its Sturdy, and I think we've lost, but the hail takes out the Caracosta, and then I think to myself, do we have the HP to live the hail? And we do, by just 2 HP, and we beat In. Even with the boost from Curse, it still came down to just a 2 HP difference. But we have no time to rest, as now it's time to take on Ghetsis. I'm gonna be honest, this fight was possible if I did the calculations right, but I threw myself at it for 2 days and couldn't get past Electros, so I'm gonna try it again at level 85. After getting to level 85, this is how the battle went. Ghetsis leads with Cofagrigus, which can't hit me for good damage, so I take this chance to set up 3 curses while being hit with some weak Shadow Balls, and we one-hit KO with a Payback. Next is his Hydreigon, which has Fire Blast, and there was no way we were living Fire Blast easily, so I had to bank on it missing, which it thankfully did, and we one-hit KO'd it with an Iron Head. Next is Electros, which is the only other Pokemon in Ghetsis' team with a super effective move, but Flamethrower doesn't KO us, but we can KO with a Payback. After Electros is Bouffalon, which hits us with a resisted head charge for minimal damage, and we can KO with 1 Payback. Second to last is Seismitoad, which lands a Muddy Water for 12 HP, and we KO it with 1 Payback. Ghetsis' last Pokemon, his last hope, his Bisharp, hits us with an X-Scissor for 10 HP as we bring it to the red with an Iron Head, and after Ghetsis heals, I begin a rollout that eventually KOs in 3 hits. And that is the entire game of Pokemon Black beaten using 1 Ferroseed. Honestly, this wasn't as hard as I thought it would be. Don't get me wrong, there were definitely roadblocks, but nothing that was super difficult. Even the Ghetsis battle was easy once I got past his Hydreigon. But I enjoyed this nonetheless, and I hope you all did as well. Please leave suggestions in the comments as to what game and what Pokemon you want to see me use next time. I don't really have a set schedule for these yet, but I'm shooting for about every 2 weeks, and with all that being said, if you made it this far into the video and want to see more challenges like this in the future, or some Nuzlockes, I would ask you to consider subscribing and ringing the bell so you never miss an upload. See you guys in the next video. Peace.